Good morning, Southwest Meat Association. My name's Rick Kimbrell, CEO of Start Clean Legacy, LLC. We provide contract cleaning services, detergents, and sanitizers to dozens of SMA members. I'd like to take a moment to thank our team, 400 strong here in the Southwest. For the last 6 months, they've been working harder than ever, just like the men and women in your plants. Without them, we wouldn't be able to serve the food industry. Our team, like yours, has continued to keep grocery store shelves full and stocked, and we're proud of that. Start Clean's honored to be the sponsor of the 64th Annual SMA Convention. I'm so glad we were able to at least meet in this format. The last time I missed an SMA convention was in 1987, the Orlando Convention, when my father, Ray Kimbrell, he either couldn't or wouldn't fork over the money to take us to Florida. I'm thankful that my roots and our Start Clean family roots go back with SMA about as long as this whole classic's been on the road. This is the best job I've ever had. Every day we get to build the culture and have the opportunity to create the best job that you've ever had for so many people, helping build careers that coexist with a healthy work-life balance. To do this, we've created the Start Clean Wins Leadership Training Program. This program is mentoring and training all of our existing and future sanitation managers, coaching them to be prepared, consistent, confident, and to follow through as they help manage your food safety. If you see someone walking through your plant with one of these on, stop and encourage them. Again, Start Clean commends all SMA members for their role in putting safe food on the table. The food industry will always be essential. We're proud to be a part of it. I know you are too. Work hard.
All right, our next update, as I mentioned, is another former scholarship recipient. In fact, had received several SMA Foundation scholarships. Dr. Loni Lucherk, which is hard for me to say, is now at West Texas A&M University. It's just she was in Lubbock at Texas Tech for so long. I got used to her being there, and so in her new spot now, she's going to provide us with an update from West Texas A&M. So Loni, take over.
Thank you very much, Joe. I'm going to start by sharing my screen. So first, I just want to thank you for your time and everything for putting on this convention, even though it's virtual. Like, we would love to be there in person and get to see all of our SMA friends. I've really enjoyed being a part of SMA in the past and look forward to growing those relationships in the future with our students at West Texas A&M. So we're very excited to talk a little bit about our program. We're going to talk a little bit about some of our undergraduate programs and competitive teams, as well as some of our international opportunities that we've had in the past and that we're hoping to have in the future. And then we'll talk a little bit about research, as well as our new facilities here that we're excited for you guys to get to see from a virtual format. And we'd love to have you out anytime that you would like. So we're going to go ahead and begin with thanking you very much for just rewarding some of our great students with scholarships. This year we had 2 master's students, Becca Grimes and Chandler Dockery, that received scholarships from you guys, and we just appreciate all the hard work, time, and effort that you put forth in raising this money, because as you've seen from Dr. Cassins and myself, it definitely pays off to have those students go into the industry and as well as academia. So just a little bit about our program. We have about 900 students in our undergraduate program, and we have lots of different ag majors, but primarily we focus our teaching in the animal science realm. So we teach a variety of classes, including food science, meat animal carcass evaluation, meat judging, meat animal evaluation, processed meats, advanced meat science, ag statistics, and numerous other classes, including swine management, that Dr. Tennant gets to teach. And so we enjoy teaching those classes. We pride ourselves on a small class size and a really intimate setting with the faculty here. And so we are excited to get to teach those hopefully in person this fall. So just to introduce you guys a little bit to our new meat science faculty and staff, well, some not so new. You'll hear from Dr. Ty Lawrence and Dr. Travis Tennant in the end of our program. And then also we just hired a new meat line manager. So we went very quickly from the last 2 years from a one-person faculty program with Dr. Lawrence to a 3 faculty and a meat line manager in the last week he was hired. So we also have a great team of graduate students and about 20 to 30 undergraduate students that are employed by the Beef Carcass Research Center in our program that get to work either in the meat lab or on the road going to collect different types of carcass data for the BCRC. I'm excited to get to coach and be a part of the competitive teams here at West Texas A&M. We are going to have the meat judging team that will start this fall and start competing in 2021, hopefully. The meat animal evaluation team as well. And then the meat science quiz bowl team, we've been meeting online over Zoom because they're going to have a virtual quiz bowl competition this year since the AMSA, ICOMS, and RMC had to go virtual as well. So we're excited to get to have the quiz bowl team participate, and hopefully we are excited to have in-person meat judging contests next year, and we're excited that any students are going to be able to participate in those. I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Tennant to talk a little bit about the international opportunities that he's been able to have in the past couple of years.
Sure. So one of the new facets also of adding new faculty is adding just different areas of expertise to the program. And one of the areas of my focus here is processed meats and food safety. And fortunately enough for us, the first year here for us was in conjunction with IFA, the American Meats Processing Association has an international competition and does have a competition available to collegiate students. And so we had 5 graduate students participate in this program. And basically they submit products here to the US to AMP for evaluation, similar to the ACMC competition that AMP puts on every year. And then they're evaluated based upon the merits set out by the German Butchers Association. And we were able to bring home 8 gold medals, 3 bronze, and 1 silver. And as part of that, we were able to travel to Germany. And so the other picture too, and as part of that is we were partners with NC State and an experiential learning tour as well. So those students were able to go throughout various parts of Germany and really learn more about the meats industry, touring very small processors and going into what they would consider to be large processors throughout the country. And I think overall, just a lot of knowledge is learned by having students leave the US to just get a different perspective on different ways that other countries process meat products.
In addition to competitive teams and the research that we do here, we host a lot of different groups and go out and host a lot of different groups in terms of extension and outreach, as well as some different youth programs. So most recently, we were able to host the Texas 4-H Livestock Ambassador Program last week. And so you can see a lot of pictures with masks, but they were able to have a very hands-on experience. We were able to bring in 7 different cattle of varying genetic types, and they evaluated them live. They got to ultrasound, and they got to harvest and fabricate those carcasses last week. And so it was a great experience for them. We also host numerous different meat judging contests as well as industry short courses. And we are also host the swine skillathon contest at San Antonio Livestock Show, in addition to numerous other activities that happen here on campus. So now I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Ty Lawrence, and he's going to talk a little bit about BCRC as well as our research and our new facility.
Good morning, all. As you have probably realized in the last couple of minutes, I'm sitting in a pretty good place with 2 fantastic young faculty to my side. And you know that I had a program I inherited from Dr. Montgomery, who built this original program at West Texas A&M. I took over in 2004 and ran a one-man show for 15 years. And now I've got some fantastic colleagues, and we're trying to do our best to put WT on the map as a meat science place to be. One of the most unique outcomes that we can offer a student at WT is what we call the BCRC, or the Beef Carcass Research Center. This is an entity that was begun by Dr. Montgomery in 1992 at the request of the industry to collect research data from trials at the unique beef processing environment. And this has only grown and expanded to what we see today. We are gone fundamentally all the time, although as you would know, COVID has slowed us down a little bit. We actually never stopped going into plants, but the life has changed quite a bit by what we do. And let me tell you, it's pretty hot on a kill floor wearing a mask. But we still do collect all sorts of data. Our two primary customers would be the corporate feed yards. We do stuff for corporate feed yards all across the country, many of whom are testing a new product, a new management style, a new strategy, et cetera, and they want to know, how does that affect the carcass? The other big customer that we have are new animal drug approvals for the big pharmaceutical companies. So one of the sets of data they must provide the Food and Drug Administration whenever they're testing any new product is, what does that do to the carcass? And so we come in as an independent third party with no skin in the game to say, here's the good, the bad, and the ugly of what happened to the carcass, and we provide that data that ultimately goes to the Food and Drug Administration. We also do quite a bit of marketing data. So you have a new product, you have a new management system, you have a new bell or whistle. How does that affect the carcass? And we collect hundreds of thousands of those types of data in our database. And we assist many other universities with their research trials, maybe from cattle from their herd or their ranch, or from their feedlots. There's lots of cattle that end up in the general Midwest area that we help with, and so quite a bit beyond our own university, as well as genetic improvement to provide people outcomes that they can use in their EPDs. And let me tell you, we've sampled every part of the carcass from nose to tail, live to dead, E. coli to every organ, gland, blood, muscle, et cetera, that you could ask for somebody's research project somewhere in North America. And currently we're looking at about 200,000 carcasses a year. I'll tell you, our peak year was a couple years ago. We looked at over 400,000 carcasses, and we spent a lot of time on the road. So real quick, the mission of the program that we've tried to put together is to provide the students a high tempo learning environment. And I can tell you, our students, they don't sit still for very long. We're either running the meat lab and processing cattle, pigs, sheep, or goats, or we're at the plants collecting research information and or furthering their education. And so our goal is to keep them engaged and busy and extremely active. And if they come in the next morning worn out and tired, I think we've achieved our goal. And so we try to do that on a daily basis. Just a few quick research projects that we have ongoing for your interest. One of those that I started several years ago is what we call Prime 1. And the goal was to take carcasses and clone the carcass, which is a little bit unusual. Most people that have done cloning have cloned a live animal. So we chose to do this in a different fashion. Our goal was to build the animal you want from the end product, rather than hope you put the right sire and dam together. So in this case, we're looking for an animal that is very high quality. So think prime, look at the picture in the upper left, and very trim. Think yield grade 1. Look at the picture in the upper center. And when you find those in the same animal, which is extremely rare, that's an antagonistic outcome. So when we find those animals, we take a muscle sample, and we have cloned several carcasses and made those into live animals again. And you see such examples in the lower left, being haltered there by those 4 young men. The sire on the left is what we called alpha, and that dam that you see them holding, that was gamma 1. So we actually have multiple gammas, and we had one alpha. And so we crossbred alpha with the gammas, and then you see what we have on the right, and that's alpha gamma 1. So we've been told he was the world's first bovine to be generated from 2 carcasses. And we've used him in several breeding trials and compared him to other very popular sires. And to date, he has outperformed every sire we've tested. So he's very high quality, very high yield, and he's looking pretty good. I'll tell you right now, we're using him against an extremely popular sire in a Jersey dairy herd to see how he can improve a Jersey cow. So results will be pending. Come talk to us in the future about that. Something that we've been researching at West Texas A&M since the late 1970s is liver abscesses and how to reduce their occurrence in the fed beef supply. And this is an issue that has not gone away. In fact, it has only increased in recent years. And that's a current issue, very contemporary for my colleagues and I. That is something that we continue to work on every day around here and a weekly basis. And our students get a deep understanding of what causes and potential ways to mitigate the liver abscess issue. We've done recent research in cold dairy outcomes. So we know why the cow was cold, at least as far as what the dairy was thinking. But there's a lot of different and divergent outcomes that we see at the slaughterhouse based on that cold dairy cow. And we were providing information at the request of the dairy industry into how to improve the end product. And our goal was to provide them information to be able to appropriately cull that animal, not only based on its milk outcome, but also based on its carcass value. And so we've provided those types of information back to the dairy world with a recent thesis. That actually led to this project, which was Jersey growth. As you know, we're in a rich dairy area now, particularly in the last 10 years, and many of those dairies are Jerseys to provide the base product for cheese. So we obviously have a plethora of Jersey bull calves coming out of those systems, and we were tasked with, quote unquote, can we make that animal profitable? So we developed a very unique experiment, and you see some of those cattle right here in this photograph. So we did 2 divergent treatments, and I say very divergent because the cattle feeding community told us normal absolutely does not work, so you have to try abnormal to see if we can make this animal profitable. I'll tell you that the animals on the right are NHTC Jerseys, so a non-hormone treated animal. And the animals on the left, we tried to do something nobody's ever done. We gave those cattle 6 Revelor XS implants, not all at the same day, but one every 70 days to try and give them an additional boost of hormone. And we did get some noticeable differences in growth, dressed yield, obviously noticeable differences in grade and performance outcome. And one of the key differences you'll notice is in their head size and their hair color. The cattle on the left were much darker in color, and they were slick year-round, even during the winter here, whereas the cattle on the right were scruffy almost the year over, much lighter in muscling, but much better in quality. And so it was a fantastic growth experiment. I'll let you know that we failed in both treatments, and they all lost money. It only mattered in how much they lost, typically about $200 per head. So we did not solve the problem, but we have some fantastic data. Our students presented that back in 2019 at the animal science meetings, and Dr. Tennant is working up a peer-reviewed manuscript as we speak. One of the recent trials that we just finished up this summer of 2020 is a big growth and development project, and you can see those images on the screen there. We bought 120 cattle, single source from one ranch and just a handful of sires, and we grew those cattle from 600 pounds to a ton. And we were trying to document the changes that occur in live animal growth and in byproduct growth and in carcass yield and in empty body fat. And so you see the day we started on the very left, an extremely lean animal. We weaned these calves on the truck as they left the ranch of origin, and we slaughtered 8 of those when they walked off the truck. And then we fed them for 378 days and slaughtered 8 animals every 42 days. And you can see what they look like in the end, an extremely over-finished animal and a substantial growth in the carcass. And let me tell you, our graduate students measured a litany of outcomes in 12 chapters that were in 4 master's theses. They had just over 15 million cells of data and not quite 9,000 lines of SAS code to analyze that data. So those kids actually called their thesis their dissertations, because the amount of work we made them do was somewhere between a traditional thesis and a dissertation. And so they got a lot of work out of that. Real quick, I want to go through our ag science complex and let you know what we've built. So we started out with a meat lab, and I'll get to that. This is what our new facility looks like from the outside. You can see we built a little bit more than a meat lab, but that's where it all began, and then we just built up and out from there. The meat lab sets the footprint of our entire facility. We also have a large pavilion, a giant glass barn foyer, and a pretty good sized arena outside as well for equine, rodeo, and livestock events. One of the features of our new facility was to be student-centered, student-friendly, and have them on campus as much as possible. And so we've got a litany of seating areas, classroom areas, study areas, and the goal was to make these students feel at home and welcome 24 hours a day. And you'll find students studying in our building year-round and all hours of the day, so it's working as intended. Just another view of more of those study areas. Classrooms were built with smart technology, and so we have a traditional smart technology on the front with a projector and a screen. And you'll also notice we have smart technology on the sides of the classrooms as well. So you can utilize multiple facets of technology, and all of the tables are movable, so you can modulate the room in any pattern that you want, depending on what you're trying to do in any individual class. And then something that you guys might be a little more interested in is our new meat lab and innovation center that was named after our local meat packer, the Cavanis family. So we've got a store, which we call Doc's Prime Cuts, named in honor of Dr. Ted Montgomery. He was the first meat scientist at West Texas A&M, and we wanted to leave his legacy in our new building. And so you open the door into our system, and you see a hallway. We've got a tour group here that came to see what we had to offer. And our hallway is a football field long down to the very end. So we've got quite a bit of rail space between where we're standing and the end of that hallway. And the hallway was meant to separate the building into fresh meats that was on the right of that picture and processed meats on the left. And you can see now our slaughter floor. We built a kill floor that was designed for 35 cattle in one day. And I will tell you that we have done that once. So we have a knock box that was built with a guillotine head catch so that we could teach students how to stun an animal without fear of the animal moving too much and or causing a missed stun. They put their head in the guillotine, we lower the catch on them, and then the animal is quite well restrained, and we can teach stunning in that system. We also have a one-piece scalded hair, and probably one of the most unique things of our lab is the picture in the center and the one on the right. We have a pre-evisceration wash that separates the clean side from the dirty side. So this picture being taken from the dirty side, looking into the clean side. And then on the right picture, we have a final carcass wash. So we have 2 interventions built into the system. Both of those spray the carcass with 190 Fahrenheit water and an acid. Currently, that would be lactic acid that we're using. We're also teaching the students to use modern slaughter floor equipment. You see a leg clipper on the left, a brisket saw in the middle, and that's a Buster 5 splitting saw on the right. Those are modern pieces of equipment that you would find in any modern commercial slaughterhouse. First harvest of the lab, as you would probably know, we went slow and easy to make sure everything worked right. I'll tell you, on day one, we killed 3 steers, and it worked more or less right. We had a few hiccups, but we figured out how to get around all of those, and all went quite well. And then on April 22nd of this year, we actually put 35 head of cattle in the cooler in 10 hours. And we did that with 13 students, and they had an absolute ball. And so it was pretty fun, and it was an interesting day at WT. And so beyond that, we have fabrication rooms, we have processing rooms, and one of the more unique things at a university meat lab is an RTE room. So we roll a truck of product into our smokehouse, shown in the right picture, and then it rolls out into the room, shown on the bottom left. You see a green dot and a stainless steel door. That's the back side of our smokehouse. So we have a pass-through smokehouse that goes into an RTE room. So you chill the product in a blast cooler and then bring it out for further processing, particle size reduction. We have a large test kitchen with multiple opportunities for cooking equipment. And we also have a pavilion with a wet lab. And one of the unique things that we built here was a place to do what we call a dirty lab. So if we wanted to do a necropsy of an animal that has already died, we'll bring it into this room and we can dismantle it, take it apart, do whatever we need, and then at the end of the day, we can wash it down. And so that's actually where we do necropsies for demonstrations, is in that room. And then we have an event center, as I mentioned. You would call it an arena. We can practice in there. Our equestrian team and stock horse team are the primary users. We could also hold a rodeo, although we've not yet to do that. We hold rodeos in Amarillo, and we use it frequently for livestock events. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Dr. Lucherk. And as she mentioned, you are all welcome to join us at any time. Come in, take a tour, and see our facility. And any of the 3 of us will be glad to have you at our facility.
Thank you guys very much.
Well, thanks to all of you. That was very interesting, and love seeing the new facility. I'm going to have to come out and hit you up for a tour.
Our world is growing. As population growth continues to rise and wealth increases, so does the demand for food, feed, and fuel. Traditional resources are depleting, and the demand for sustainable ingredients is growing. That's where we come in. We are committed to help meet that demand, as we believe that nature has significantly more to offer than we currently use. We believe that we can maximize the use of natural resources by continuously improving ourselves, our processes, and our products. Giving nature a second life is our second nature. With our roots dating back to the late 19th century, we have evolved from a small rendering company into the world's leading innovative developer and producer of sustainable organic ingredients for a growing population. Our unique broad product and service portfolio is active all over the world, customized for high-end markets and local needs. Each day, our dedicated employees live what we all believe. We serve society by maximizing nature's value so that people stay healthy, homes stay warm, children stay happy, dogs and trucks keep running, and farmers can flourish, not just today, but infinitely. We are Darling Ingredients.